Travis Hunter, the wide receiver. What do you love about Travis Hunter? Yours and mine, wide receiver one.
Yeah, I think Travis Hunter is the clear wide receiver one in this draft class. His ball skills are utterly sick, like ridiculous ball skills. He adjusts really well to the ball in the air, and he does it late as well. Like he's the kind of guy that can turn, see a ball, it's off target, immediate contortion, snags it out of the air. Guy's got 4 drops in his career, 3 last year. That's like a 3% drop rate. That's sort of Larry Fitzgerald levels of drop rate. And remember, he's doing this while tired most of the time, right? He's playing cornerback as well. That's the kind of thing that affects, concentration drops, just that kind of thing. Just a basic level of fatigue doesn't affect him whatsoever. He's got speed, he's got quickness, he's got change of direction, all really good. His releases at the line are absolutely sick. I think he's clearly the best receiver in the draft class. And I think you're only seeing whatever it is, 85, 90% of what he's capable of because he's playing both ways. There are times, and I think he's gotten better at this throughout his entire college career. You can see times where he looks visibly fatigued on both sides of the ball. Like you can see plays where it's like, man, that dude's tired. That dude is flagging right now. And a lot of the time, like sometimes it costs him a corner because if that happens on a particular play, you can get targeted. At receiver, it's less, I think, problematic because you can hide that a lot of the time. But there are times where he looks wrecked going to the line and they throw him like a bubble screen or something. And it's like that poor dude is like bubble screen. Maybe you just get 5 yards, fall over, but like he breaks a tackle. Now the poor guy has to run another 40 yards while he's already tired. Like I just think he's already extremely good. And I only think you're getting, there's still another percentage of capacity to get if you take the two-way thing off his plate.
I think that's another reason why when we talk about Travis Hunter as the cornerback, we say, well, he's a better zone corner than man corner, because there were times he did get torched in man against some of these receivers we're going to talk about here. And when you play man, that takes up a little bit more energy, right? You're running with receivers rather than, backpedal and read in. Maybe you don't have a pass thrown your way, and it's a little bit easier, so to speak, on certain plays rather than playing man coverage. I wonder if his man coverage as a corner would be better if he wasn't playing receiver as well. So I think that is a factor. Sure. And you're right. I mean, he's just a dynamic playmaker. When you look at receivers, I look at, can you win at all levels of the field? And then can you win after the catch? Right. And very few receivers have all of that, right? You can win down the field, you have the ball skills, and you have the good yak ability. I think he does. He has both of those. I think you can scheme up short routes for Hunter, and he can create after the catch. I think you can run him on short, intermediate, or deep routes, and he can win. And again, like you said, the ball skills are out of this world for a cornerback, right? And they're very good for a receiver, right? So that is always going to be his calling card. I've seen many people in the chat citing the fact that he called himself slow, and that we're not going to have a 40 time on Hunter, and maybe he's a 4-5 guy. I don't feel slow issues with Hunter. I think he's fast enough, but I don't think he's a burner, right? This class has a lot of burners. There's a lot of sub 4.4 40s in this draft class. I don't think that's Hunter, but I also don't think it affects his ability to win down the field.
No. So I don't know what is. Again, I feel like speed is a sort of three-phase thing, right? Instant acceleration, the kind of the real drive acceleration phase, and then the top speed. If he's missing one of them, it's the top speed thing, but the other two are absurd. His instant quicks are nuts, and his acceleration phase is absolute madness. Like his burst is crazy. So I don't care what he tops out at. Like I don't think that's particularly relevant to him. I think he can absolutely play outside as a true X receiver. His hands are good. His release is good. Occasionally he does get mauled, but he tends to fight his way through it. Like he definitely gets bodied because he's really slight.
He's slight, yeah.
But he does fight his way through that contact most of the time. It doesn't like kill his route the way it does with some other players. But I mean, and all this sort of talk of, well, you're only getting 85, 90% of him right now. The 85 or 90% version is already wide receiver one in this draft class. Like I'm not saying, once you project him to 100%, he becomes wide receiver one. I'm saying right now, what
way
you
he
see
plays.
on tape is wide receiver one by a reasonable distance, in my opinion. And I think that's probably only 85 or 90% of what he's capable of doing. So if you then project that even further, he's just night and day, by far the best wide receiver in this draft class.
Hey guys, just taking a quick break to tell you, hey, just over 50% of you are still unsubscribed to Check the Mic. It helps the channel. It helps to make sure that you don't miss any of our shows. So if you have a chance, hit the subscribe button right now. Yeah, I like Hunter quite a bit, and we have to talk a little bit about usage here, Sam, because it's a huge part of the Travis Hunter story. Like later in this offseason here, the draft season, we're going to rank cornerbacks, and we'll have him ranked separately as a cornerback. But the most fascinating draft in the story in the draft is what happens to Travis Hunter. Where does he go, and how is he used? You and I went to the combine and started to hear more of that groundswell that he is this wide receiver one in the class, even though I think we all agree it's easier to play full-time corner and part-time receiver. But the more you hear people rave about him as a receiver and not rave about the rest of the top end of the receiver class, how much might we see him as wide receiver first and cornerback second?
So that's the thing, is that I think it's easier to use him both ways if you're putting him as a full-time corner and then have a package of plays on offense. But I think the gap between him and everybody else is bigger at wide receiver than it is at corner. And I think he's better at wide receiver than he is at corner. So you have, like, that's the tricky part of this, is I think he's a better receiver than he is a cornerback, but it's easier to make him a starting corner and use him as a package on offense than it is the other way around. But the other thing is, again, I keep coming back to this all the time. Like, I don't know how many teams give a crap about the two-way thing. Like, I don't know how many teams are even interested in letting him attempt that. Whatever he wants, like, that's fine. You might love to continue this like unique two-way story and, become like, that's your legacy stuff. The team that drafts you in the top 5 might not care. They might just say, we have a hole at wide receiver. You're a wide receiver. End of story. And maybe, if injuries hit or whatever, your ability to play corner gives us some, Troy Brown flexibility to that we can emergency. We don't have to go sign a guy off the street. Travis Hunter can fill in, but we don't have a huge amount. Like, there's nothing in it for us necessarily to experiment with this two-way thing in the hopes that we can save a roster spot, or, we just don't think that that's viable. So we're not doing it.
I mean, I think they should, though.
Maybe, but also this idea of, I think you can definitely construct an argument that it's the same idea with this don't chase exceptions thing. Like, maybe he can be a two-way player and save you a roster spot and be a unique guy and a story that nobody's seen since the 1960s or whatever. Maybe. But if he can't, all you're doing is making him worse at the thing that he should be doing for no actual gain. And, you get into trouble when you start chasing unique, freaky, like, exceptions to the rule. I think a lot of teams are just not going to be interested in that potential risk, and they're just going to draft him at the position they think he's better at or that they need him at.
I can't wait to see it, because I just think that I would chase that. You know me. I mean, I would chase it. I would do it. I would chase the two-way thing. If you can get 1.5 players, is what I keep saying about this. If you can get 1.5 players out of Travis Hunter, I think he has it in him, right? He's good enough at corner. He's good enough at receiver that you can get 1.5 players out of him, and the extra depth chart spot and all of the different perks that he adds as a player. So either way, we both have Travis Hunter as wide receiver one. We both love the skills that he brings to the table at wide receiver. Anything else you want to add about Travis Hunter and his game?
No, not really. I mean, are you at all concerned about the size, how slight he is? I mean, particularly, so he's a little bit like he's a less polished but slightly bigger version of Devontae Smith. I mean, Devontae Smith has obviously worked, has been really good in the NFL, but he does feel like a receiver that needed the AJ Brown in order to maximize what he can do, right? He needs to have the guy on the same team that can be that number one, that can take the physical attention, that can be the X, to let him maximize what are we at all concerned that Travis Hunter's size becomes a bigger problem in the NFL?
A little bit. I like the way you describe it, though. I mean, and we're also talking about, I think he's very likely to go to the Giants now at 3, or there's a high percentage chance that he goes at 3 and becomes the complement to Malik Neighbors. So that could be just a really nice fit. I mean, yeah, I don't think I don't think he's as good of a wide receiver prospect as what we thought Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors or maybe even Rome Odunze were as wide receiver prospects. Probably closer to Odunze, but completely different style and body type.
He's
So,
below
yeah,
all three of those guys last year.
Yeah, and he's a Z, and that's a Z's not a knock, right? It's just avoid press a little bit more and run more of your option routes, run more of your over routes, and things where you just don't need to go win in isolation. But I also think his play strength is good for his size, just like Devontae Smith's was, right? He's not getting bodied all the time, right? There are just times when it's going to be a challenge. So, yeah, a little concerned with it, but not massively concerned with it. So I think he's very good for what he brings to the table.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.